Hi, I'm Non, and I'm back again with another sketch and yeah. Yippee! Oh my god, I'm committing to doing more than two and then giving up. I just want to say, start off right off the bat with holy shit, I did not expect. Like I said this the last time, I really did not expect to receive such a warm, reception on my last video. But, this time I'm, really blown away, and I'm so grateful that, people were so kind and encouraging in the comments, and I just really appreciate it, and thank you so much for having showed up, and thank you so much to all the new subscribers I got. And I wanted to continue doing this regardless of any sort of reception that I got, but definitely I'm way more motivated now knowing that I didn't completely make a fool of myself. So thank you, I really appreciate it. I'm doing more off the cuff, scriptless today because I just kind of wanted to. I think the pieces that I drew were pretty aimless, and so I'll just do my aimless commentary and hope that it works well as background noise for whatever you're working on, or, hopefully it's entertaining enough to watch. But anyway. So this first drawing that I worked on, I was trying to design Sua's mom. I still don't have any ideas for what I would want to name her, and I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I'd want to name her at all, because I think it would be really, really funny if he had the stupidest name ever and we don't even know her name and she's just Sua's mother. But we'll see. Maybe something will come to me eventually. But I couldn't sleep one night, and so I just sat down at 2 a.m. and started working on this design, and I had a really strong mental image for how I wanted her to look, and so it kind of just came out pretty easily, which I was glad for, because character design is not my strong suit, and especially feminine character design. I feel like I'm really bad at it. But I had a strong image of her looking I don't know, a mixture of an aged Paris Hilton with Korean BL webtoon villain. I don't know. I really wanted her to look mean and snooty, and she'd cause a problem just by walking into a room, because that's kind of her vibe, right? She's gotta be the center of attention, but I also wanted her to look her age. I didn't want her to dress super immaturely, even though I think personality wise she's pretty immature. But I imagine she has a stylist, and so she's got someone dressing her, so she's not looking too matronly, but she's also not looking like she's trying to be 20. Her whole shtick, like I've said before, is that she's a socialite. And so she grew up pretty spoiled, never really heard no, and kind of learned that hearing no was a bad thing, and she didn't like it. And so she throws tantrums if she ever hears no. And that's why she decided to name her child Swagnall, because she got the idea, and then she would not let anyone tell her no. But yeah, I wanted her to look like somebody that would treat her child like an accessory, which is a terrible thing to say about her. But also, I kind of love that for her. Not really. I wouldn't love that. Okay. I'm gonna cancel. Okay. To clarify, I don't love that for her. I don't want her to be a terrible person, but I'm proud of myself because I have a tendency to make all of my characters have a level of, I don't know, you feel bad for them, so you're empathetic for their really shitty behavior, and they're a lot more forgivable than they should be. And I want her to be very unsympathetic. I think, to give you an idea of sort of the backstory for her, besides what I already mentioned with her growing up spoiled and everything like that, I have ideas for Sua's family situation, and the long and short of it is, I'm pretty certain I don't ever want his father to be known. My idea is kind of that his dad was somebody very important. I don't know, maybe a politician or a celebrity, a famous actor, I don't know, an athlete, something like that. Someone really famous that maybe had an affair with Sua's mom, and instead of, stepping up when she found out that she was pregnant, paid her off, like paid her into silence and stuff like that. And normally that would be sad, I think, but I also think in her case it's very despicable for her to accept that, because like, again, she grew up wealthy, she had no problems with money, like there was no need for her to take the money over, you know, giving her child a father. But point being, I don't want her to be somebody that you're rooting for, but I also I may or may not have a thing for scary, mean-looking ladies. So I wanted her to be like, oh, I hate you, but also, can I get your number? Okay, sorry, I'm normal. But, yeah, so I had a very strong mental image for her, like, already when I was sitting down to work on her, so I think her design came pretty naturally to me, which is very, I think, rare, at least when it comes to feminine characters for me. I think I really struggle with feminine characters, but the good news is I like older women, so I had a strong mental image there. And then also because the setting is like modern, like totally typical real world, it's not like I had to come up with any cool fantasy-esque elements to her design. She's just like businessy looking lady, but like fashionable business. I don't know. So came pretty naturally. I also really wanted to have her look like, I wanted her facial similarities to be kind of obvious, like with Sua, but I also wanted her to look distinct enough that it didn't look like she just reproduced asexually and like sprouted him out. You know, like I didn't want them to look like clones of each other. I wanted there to be some distinction, but I also wanted the family resemblance to be pretty clear. And so I really focused on like the eye shape, especially because Sua has like very droopy, like downturned eyes. And so I wanted to give her the same thing, but I wanted to emphasize that hers look like a lot meaner and like less puppy dog like and more like RBF like, you know, like resting bitch face. I also wanted her color palette to be similar but not the same. So Sua's natural hair color is dark brown. You can see that in his undercut and his eyebrow color. And the blondish, like strawberry-ish color that he has is dyed, like bleached. So I gave her hair color, like I made her hair color the same as Sua's, you know, natural hair color, but then I added sort of like an ashy gradient to the top, and then I also gave her some little graying streaks at the temples because hey, older ladies, can I get you know, I just wanted like some signs of like aging because I didn't want her to look super young. She's not supposed to be like super old either. I'm thinking she's like in her late 40s at like the oldest. So like she had him when she was pretty young, but like not teenage level young. And I think that like would make more sense given that she named him Swagnold. But I like to think that she still thinks the name Swagnold is good and cool. Because it would just be so silly and stupid to see this woman who looks super serious and like stern and like she'd kick you in the teeth. I just think it would be funny if she thought the name Swagnold was cool. So I can just imagine her being like, Swagnold, dearest, you know? I don't know. I wanted her to look like the type of lady that would unironically think that was cool. Like, she's so out of touch and just not down to earth at all. But I think I managed to differentiate her enough from Sua while still having them look similar where you can see the family resemblance. I at least hope that's the case. Like, I tried. I'm not that great at designing characters. I feel like that's something that I should work on someday, but today's not that day. One tip that I have, though, when designing characters, at least when they're in like a modern setting, like real world modern setting, is with clothes, you can get away with doing very, very simple clothes, like even like t-shirt and jeans, and have them look very unique if you just put in the, you know, detail to make it look unique. Like, she's just wearing like a suit, like a suit and sort of dress thing, but it looks relatively unique only because I added seam lines and stuff like that. So just take the time to add in details, and that will elevate your character design, I think, a lot. And yeah, it's worth doing that, even if it does become a pain in the ass sometimes to like add the details. Another tip that I have when designing characters, again, I'm not the best at it, so maybe my advice is kind of worthless, but I do recommend giving them layers, because you can then mix and match like what kind of layers you have them wearing, take off accessories, put them on, depending on the piece you're drawing them in, and then instantly it gives you like more to draw with them. Definitely recommend that. Give them a defined color palette, but don't like completely limit yourself like to like only one color or whatever. It's just like easier to have a general family to work with that you can pick from, so that they stay sort of on brand no matter how you're drawing them. You can like change up their clothes, but still have them look like themselves. That's what I try to do with Sua, at least. But yeah, that's Sua's mom. Hey, mommy, can I get your number? Sorry. But yeah, she's like, right now she's in the process of like still being developed and everything like that. But for the most part, she's not meant to be a super fleshed out character. And this was like more just a fun exercise to imagine what she would look like, and to get the mental image I've had of her out onto canvas so that I know what I'm working with. And also, I just haven't drawn a pretty lady in a while, so. So this next piece, this one's kind of a doozy. So like I started off drawing this one day, and this is what happens, okay? This is why I feel like I need to finish pieces in one sitting, because otherwise I do this. So I started off with like a mental image of like, oh, a sunny bright sky, and he's doing like the let's take ibuprofen together pose, because I love that pose. I spam that so much. I just love doing like foreshortening with hands. It's fun. It adds a lot of dynamic movement without like doing a super big action pose. I feel like I don't get to draw action poses a lot because most of my characters are pretty grounded in reality, so, you know, this is as close as I get. But anyway, I wanted to do like a really bright, sunny, happy, sort of pretty daytime, blue sky, you know, kind of thing. And so I was working with that, and I actually really liked the pose and expression that I ended up with. And, you know, I had to stop because I had to go to work. And the thing is, when I'm interrupted in the middle of drawing and then I have to come back to it later, 9 times out of 10, I completely fucking hate whatever it is that I was working on when I come back. Because you know, as much as I want to preach loving your art and everything like that, you know, I'm a self-conscious bitch, okay? I struggle to like what I make, and I struggle to take it less seriously, you know? And so I like did all this. I came up with this pose. I had a pretty strong idea. I sketched everything out. I was ready to come back the next day and like add on like clothing, you know, decide on an outfit, and then like do the line work and color. And the thing about that is sometimes life doesn't work out how you plan it, and sometimes you get into like a little bit of a mental health funk kind of day, and you decide that you're not in the mood to paint blue skies and happy waves and things. And so you come back to the whip that you were working on that was like all, you know, ready to be super happy, sunshiny. And you decide, actually, I'm changing pretty much everything about this, and I'm gonna throw his ass into the void instead. And that's what I did here. So like you'll see I finished up sketching up the hair, and I was like, okay, cool, I've got this all worked out and everything. And I saved and I walked away, and then I opened it up the next day and I was like, no, I don't like this pose, I'm gonna adjust some stuff. Oh, I don't like this, I'm gonna adjust this. And you see me tweaking out, and I'm like, I couldn't decide. I was like, oh, I want the balance to be different, and oh, you know, here's this. And I'm like, oh, but what if I, you know, just you know, change the expression so that he looks a little bit more sad. And then what if I change the arm posing so he's not doing the Gomen Oomph-chan pose? And what if I take away the let's do ibuprofen pose? And yeah, so sorry, but I think that's like you know, as embarrassing as it is, I think it's good to show that art can change, and sometimes you change your mind on what the fuck it is you're working on, and you go a completely different direction. You end up with nothing the same. But also, that's why it's really good to, you know, plan out things fully first, because then you don't do that, and you don't change your mind last second, and, you know, waste a bunch of time. But, okay, so, like, hear me out, right? Hear me out. I think it's worth fucking up like that and doing a bunch of work that you don't actually end up keeping, because it's good practice in the end. And in this case, it's like, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's acceptable because at least I can put this in a video. But like, I think I need to be more open to doing that, even when it's not going into a video, because I think I end up committing to pieces that I am not happy with just because I've already finished the sketch a lot, and maybe it's a good idea to stop doing that. But yeah, you can see I was struggling because I didn't plan this out at all, and like I didn't know what kind of clothes I was gonna give him. So like I went through like a bunch of different things. There was actually bits that I deleted from the recording where I was trying to give him like a hoodie too. I just couldn't decide. In the end, I just went with a stupid fucking plain white t-shirt. I just like, oh god, make up your mind, girl. Anyway, but yeah, I went with like a lot more somber, serious tone in this piece because despite all the you know, happy, sunshiny, anime-esque, idly bullshit that I typically tend to draw, I really like dark pieces. I really like horror. I really like Baroque-inspired work, like with the heavy chiaroscuro, and like it's very weird because like the stuff I draw is very different, I think, than the stuff I get inspired by. But yeah, I really like the dark, atmospheric, moody pieces that like make you really depressed to look at. And so that's kind of what I was going for here. I looked up beaches at night and I found like screenshots and like pictures of like videos of like beaches at night where like the heavy flash was on, and I was really inspired by the color palette of those, where it's like the dark blacks and greens and yellowy colors. It looks really grody and disgusting, but it's also fascinating to see like the waves crashing against the beach slowly fade out into black nothingness on the horizon. It's really cool. It doesn't usually fit very well with cutesy anime boys doing the let's take ibuprofen together pose though, so that's why I ended up changing it and went with like a painterly style for it. I'm not very good at painting or rendering. I need to practice it more. I just cannot mentally figure out how to make rendering look good. I think like I have a really hard time distinguishing what bits need to be like harder lines versus softer lines, and it's a struggle for me. It's really, really hard. I don't know if it's an issue with my pen tablet pressure or if it's just I need to get good. It's probably that, let's be real. I just don't practice it enough. I rely way too much on cell shading. But I still like trying it every once in a while, and it's very relaxing and freeing doing painted backgrounds, because I think a lot of times if I'm working with cell shading, it's kind of a requirement to do harder lined backgrounds because they mesh better, you know, when you're working with harder lines and harder shading. But the painterly stuff is really fun, especially when it's like organic nature stuff and you don't have to be super defined with anything. Like the waves breaking here that I'm working on, I just scribbled that shit on, just trying to like a bunch of different brushes, and I ended up deciding to not use any of them and just stick with like the thin gouache brush and the gouache blender and the like soft, this one, it's like the most popular downloadable brush in the asset store. But yeah, I feel like working with backgrounds, it's like very intimidating at first, but once you start doing it, you realize, oh, it's not actually that scary. You can kind of just bullshit, and as long as you get general shapes correct, it looks cool. So yeah, I went from like the planned being super sunshiny, happy, make your heart smile, to this is ominous and he looks like he's about to like walk into the ocean and never return, which is like exactly the vibe I was going for, so yippee. I believe I worked off of a TikTok thumbnail for reference for this background. I will try to find it again, but I'm not sure. I don't have TikTok. I think I'm too boomer for TikTok. I'm 30 years old, but anyway, I had TikTok at one point and then I deleted it because I was like spending way too long on there. And long story short, I needed to get off. And yeah, I just like Googled beaches at night and I found one that was really good to work off of, and I use that for reference, and I'll put it on the screen now. But yeah, paint backgrounds from reference and just you know, try it, give it a shot. It's fun, it's worth it, because it levels up your work. I think when you start doing backgrounds and stuff, even though I rarely do them because it's kind of a pain in the ass, and like I feel like I don't ever have a reason to include backgrounds because I'm not usually drawing scenes and I'm more focusing on the characters. Anyway, draw backgrounds, try it, just paint it. But yeah, it's you know, I kind of was having a hard week when I painted this. I'm still kind of having a hard week. I'm kind of just, I'm going through it a little bit. We're not going to talk about it, but it's nice to get out some of the more sad, negative emotions through art. It's also a good, you know, coping skill when you're feeling really sad to draw happy shit. Like, to be clear, I think you should also try drawing happy stuff when you're sad too, instead of only doing vent art, because sometimes dwelling too much in your negative emotions can kind of screw you up, and that's not good. We don't want that. But sometimes it's good to indulge and just like draw the mood of the week. That's what I was doing here. I had fun trying out, like, you know, a little bit more painterly rendering. Again, it's not my strong suit. I really struggle with it. I cannot for the life of me understand how the airbrush works, but I gave it a shot anyway, and I don't think it turned out too terrible. Definitely could use some work though. Like, I feel like I really need to push my values more, like in terms of the high contrast areas, like the really harsh shading. I could really afford to be a little bit more intense with that, especially in darker pieces like this. Like, for sure, I know that this one's like camera flash, and so it's gonna be a lot brighter in the bright areas, but there's definitely areas where I really could have honed in on the what's it called? Hold on, what's the word? Ambient occlusion. Holy shit, I forgot that word. I forgot those words. I was like struggling to find that for like fucking 5 minutes. I swear to God, I had to pause and like go like what the fucking anatomy of shadows and shit like that. But ambient occlusion areas, I really could have done some really intense high contrast stuff. Like I could have gone in probably with straight black and it would have looked great. But I don't know. I think I was taking this a little bit less seriously because I wouldn't call it a vent piece necessarily, but like it was more just because I wanted to really like try this background out, and also because I wanted to maybe not stress so much about like perfect cell shading and just be like looser with the brushwork and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't push it as far as I could have, and I definitely could have spent a lot longer rendering this, but I really wanted to just go fast, let loose, do some weird, creepy, what is the word? Ominous vibes. I love putting Sua in situations. I love throwing him into the void. Like, I've done so much art of him just standing in like the void now. I don't know why. I really I feel like his character, as silly as his backstory is, I feel like he's a very complex character. I kind of cooked a little bit with like the themes of like loneliness and you know, longing to feel human and fit in and stuff, you know. It's almost like I can relate to him or something in that regard. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I had fun with this one. There's definitely some places that feel a little bit wonky. I think I overdid it on the posing and stuff like that because I spent so long editing it and trying to make it perfect, and then I didn't step back and look at the bigger picture enough to realize that like the anatomy is still off. Like, his ear is so huge. I don't know why it's so huge. And like, you could see me going in the last second to like edit his face because it looked like it was like melting a little bit, and I don't know, focus too much in the wrong areas. I think, and that's like a persistent problem for me. But and at the end of the day, I did have fun working on this, and it was really fun going back in towards the end to like add in all the filters and change the contrast and everything. And it was fun to work on this, even though I really struggled towards the beginning there. I don't know what the fuck I wanted to do, but I'm happy I settled on something. And I guess I'll save the ibuprofen Gomen Umfshan pose for later. And then for the last piece of this video, I kind of just wanted to do more man standing emoji art because that's my favorite kind of art to do. I just love drawing characters just standing there casually in like, you know, cutesy clothes and stuff like that. I don't know, it just makes my heart happy. And so I sat down and I decided to draw this. Actually, I'll be so real with you, I had intended to do something else. I really wanted to do a randomly generated palette challenge thing because I love doing that kind of thing. And I had actually sat down and done the whole thing and drawn the whole thing, and then I went to go stop the recording after I was done and I realized I never started it. So that's awesome. And so I was like, well, fuck it, I guess man standing emoji art it is. So here's Sua doing the Kevin James meme with the shrugging and hands in the pockets. Dude, he's just a chill guy. While I was drawing this, I realized that I could use it as an opportunity to talk about how I draw clothing folds, because someone had left a comment asking if I could explain how I go about doing that at some point, and so I figured, yeah, I'll just take the time. So you'll see me sort of go over some of that later in this recording. But for now, the one the one skill I learned in being a Dino Ace fan is being able to draw baseball caps without a reference. I feel pretty cool for being able to do that, and it's all because I drew a lot of baseball boy fan art. And so the hat that I gave Sua here is actually a reference to, you know, the Sato baseball uniform hat. But fun fact, my username Furion is actually based on Furuya Satoru, who's my favorite character from that anime. So yeah, if you ever, you know, want to talk to me about Dino Ace, hit me up. Anyway. But yeah, it was about here in the recording where I realized, like, oh, I could use this time to like turn this into a clothing folds tutorial. And so I actually have like the audio from this recorded where I was explaining what I was doing. So I'll post that separately as an unlisted video, just in case anyone wants to hear it. But like my main points that I was making are just like, keep in mind the basic forms of the shapes that you're like drawing on top of. So like spheres, cubes, cylinders, etc. And the most important things to keep in mind when drawing clothing folds are the weight of the fabric, so like the thickness, and also the amount of fabric you're drawing with, because like if it's a small piece, it's going to fold less and hang less and be less affected by gravity. And the material, like the thickness of the material, is also going to affect how it drapes and like how much of the fabric is going to be required for it to be affected by gravity. So that's kind of what I'm going over here, is like thin cotton is going to be different than like wool suit. So that's really important to keep in mind. And then like points of tension versus points of compression and folding. So like compression folds are going to look different than tension folds, because like areas that are folding because they're hanging down from something are going to usually be like thinner, longer lines, versus compression folds, which are like what I'm doing with the sleeves here, which are like kind of triangular and stuff like that. And the difference is like hanging versus being pushed against something, and that's why it's like, you know, compression folds, they're being compressed, and so those are going to look different. So keeping that stuff in mind, and just again, points of tension. So like, I don't know, like an elbow pointing outwards is going to have like the point of tension, and the folds are going to be all pushed in towards like the crook of the elbow, or like in the shoulders and in the armpits. And like keeping in mind where seams are in the clothes also affects where the folds are going to be, because the seams are new points of tension. And it's like all just based on doing a lot of observation, looking at different fabrics around your house, seeing how they fold, doing a lot of work based off of references, so you get a good mental library about how folds are gonna tend to look depending on what fabrics you've got, and then understanding like how the different material behaves differently. Like again, thick wool is gonna fold a lot less than like a thin cotton t-shirt. A suit is gonna have like a lot sharper creases with the folds. You're gonna have more like square, like angular looking folds than like a soft sweater or a t-shirt. So just keeping that stuff in mind. It sounds really complex and like a pain in the butt, but the more you do it, the more you draw it, the more you practice it, build up that mental library, the more you're gonna have it on lock, and you can just do what I do, which is like make it up, bullshit it, and you can bullshit it more convincingly the bigger your mental library is. All of that being said, my biggest tip would be if you are somebody that works primarily with like rendering work, like where you do the soft painterly shading, I would advise you to do all the folds in the actual rendering step. Don't draw them out with line art and then add the fold shading, because like I draw them with lines because I don't like to shade my work, right? And so there's no way for me to portray the folds otherwise if I don't do them in line work. Consider the line work to be its own shading, right? Like consider them to be like very deep shadows. That's like the best way to think about lines when it comes to folds and like detail in your art. Because otherwise, if you mix line work and shadows, sometimes it can be overkill and it's really intense and you just don't want to do that. So that's my biggest advice when it comes to clothing folds. As I'm wrapping up here, you can see I really royally screwed up, and I realized I didn't flip my canvas enough, and his face was so off. He was like, oh, he was looking rough. And my stupid ass decided to do this all with an alias pen, and so like I couldn't just use the liquify tool because it would cause a lot of like weird artifacting, and the rest of the line work and coloring didn't have any sort of aliasing. It was just a harsh binary pen, and so I had to go in and make everything monochrome layers and stuff. Anyway, my stupid ass literally edited one of my videos saying, hey, make sure you flip your canvas, and guess who didn't follow their own advice? So this is what I mean when I say don't take my advice to heart. If I say something that you don't agree with, just don't follow it. I'm not an expert, okay? I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Anyway, I had to fix all the mistakes I made in my own work just by not following my own advice. Don't be lazy. Don't think that you know everything about art. I don't know, just practice. But also know that if you make mistakes, even late in the game, you can always fix them. There's always ways to fix them. And if you don't fix them, who gives a shit? It's for fun, right? We're drawing for fun. We're having fun. We don't care if we make mistakes. We do care. I care. I care very deeply. But, it's not the end of the world if stuff looks wonky, because it's like a, 2-hour sketch. So, thanks for coming to my third sketch and yap, and I can't believe I stuck with it this long already, so I look forward to making the next one, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye!